guys, it's Erin here and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be filming a what is on my iPhone, and I'm also going to be giving a few tips and tricks on kind of how I reduce the amount of time that I spend on my phone, just because now that we're all in quarantine, I felt like I've been spending a lot of time on my phone and it's been pretty unnecessary, and I have a few, or like maybe one or two tips and tricks to kind of improve that. Anyways, so before I begin, just a little background. My phone, if you're wondering, is the iPhone XR, and I actually got it back in January, so it's pretty new. And I also got it in white because I like the color white. And if you're wondering, my case is just from Amazon. It's like clear background and it's supposed to be gray. Like when I originally bought it on Amazon, it said that it had a gray bumper, but this looks like more browny, but it still looks fine. So yeah, it's pretty good. I literally got this for like $15 or so, which I think is a pretty good price, and it's been pretty good to my phone. So I'll actually, if I can find it, leave the link to the case down below if you are wondering. That being said, let's just get into what is in my phone. So first, gotta scooch over so I can display my phone screen on the side. Anyways, starting off with the lock screen on my phone. If you're wondering, it's just a collage that I made on an app, which I guess I'll show you guys later in the video, and I just got all the pictures from Widget. I just really liked the way that it looked, so that's my lock screen. Anyways, let's just go ahead and open the phone. So this is kind of what my first page looks like. The background of my home screen is the same as my lock screen in terms of the fact that it's like the same collage style. It just has different pictures, but the pictures are also from Widget. And before I get into like the actual apps, I just want to go over to my widgets and kind of show you guys what I have on there. So first we have batteries, which is super helpful just to like see the battery of your phone, and I also use it a lot for like AirPods. And then below that we have screen time, and this is very helpful. It's like not really one of my tips and tricks because everyone knows about screen time, but I find this really helpful to kind of just gauge at how long I'm spending on my phone. Today was a really good day. So far I've only spent 22 minutes. It obviously differs depending on the day, because sometimes I wake up and I'm not productive and I go on my phone a lot, but I also really like how it has like the most used apps, because then it kind of lets me see what apps I'm spending a lot of time on and where I can cut back. And then anyways, below screen time I have the news widget, and I just like to have this because I like to read different news articles from time to time just to stay on top of current events. That's what I have as my widgets. And now going on to the main page, so here I have like my most used apps. At the top we got like the basic iPhone apps, so we got FaceTime, calendar, photos, and camera. And then underneath that we have the App Store, and then I have the clock app, which I actually use a lot. So I like to use it for using like the bedtime app, because I like to see how many hours of sleep I get each day. So today I decided I wanted to be super productive, so I went to sleep last night at 11 and woke up at 6:30, and I still got a good amount of sleep. And so every single day, depending on when I go to sleep, sometimes like I preset it when I know that I want to wake up at a certain time, but other times it's like if I'm going to sleep and it's 12, then I'll like set it and see what time I should wake up to get like a reasonable amount of sleep, if that makes sense. And then on the side here I have so many alarms, so I think it starts at 6:35 because that's like the earliest I've woken up so far with this phone. But anyways, I have like different times, and they're all 5 minutes apart because usually it takes me more than one alarm to wake up. Like today I think I actually woke up at 6:40 because I pressed snooze a few times. And then beside that we have notes. I don't use notes too often, but I do use it every once in a while just to like write really random stuff like grocery lists, sometimes YouTube video ideas, just whatever is on my mind and like I don't want to forget about. And then I have settings, and then down to the apps that I've actually downloaded. So first we have YouTube. It's kind of funny, I never watched YouTube on my phone on my old phone, but I think because like this phone is a lot bigger in terms of like the screen size, I've been watching YouTube on here a lot more. but I do mainly watch it on my laptop just because I like the bigger screen size. And then the next app that we have is Twitter. So I actually don't really go on Twitter that often, if I'm being honest. I mainly go on Twitter when I'm bored, just as like something to pass time. So usually when I go to school, for example, I like to be early because I'm just that type of person. So I'm usually in class about 15 to 10 minutes before it actually starts, and so then in that case I'll just go on my phone and kind of see what's happening on Twitter, just like pass time. But otherwise I don't really go on it too much. It's a great source of memes if you love those. And then the next app I have is the Activity app. I don't use this one too much, but I used this a lot when I originally got my Apple Watch because I was really into like getting workouts done and stuff. And as you can see from when I first got it, it was like I was getting more like full bars, or like full closing all the rings. And then as you can see when I scroll down, going like end of April, early May, I've just been really bad at working out. I don't know why. I just like hit a plateau and decided I didn't want to work out anymore. I'm slowly trying to get better though at it. And then we have Snapchat. So I used to be obsessed with Snapchat growing up. Like it was the one app that I was always on, and I'm always like doing streaks, and I'm still doing streaks. I'm just trying to limit the amount of times that I do go on it. And then underneath we have Facebook Messenger. I use this a good amount of times, not so much recently, but like there's a lot of like group chat stuff for like my sorority and also just school stuff. I'll use it every once in a while for that. And then we have Instagram, which is probably my most used app. Like I said before though, I'm really trying to get better at not going on it too much. Before I could literally spend hours on Instagram. It's pretty bad. But now I usually like to go on only one time a day. It's usually first thing in the morning when I wake up, just because it helps me wake up, which I know is not the best thing, but whatever. App beside that we got Facebook, and I don't really use Facebook that much. I used to use it a lot when I was younger, but now I use it more for school and sorority stuff. And then we have Spotify, which I use quite a bit because I'm literally always listening to music. And then at the bottom we just got the basic apps like the phone app, and then we have the Safari app, and then we got the Messages app, and then we got the Mail app. Anyways, before I go into the next page, I wanted to give one of my tips and tricks for kind of reducing screen time. So my biggest tip is to turn off notifications. And I know you're looking at my phone and I do have notifications on, but the important thing is turning notifications off of your lock screen. So what I've done is I only have specific apps that I get notifications on my lock screen, and those are phone calls, text messages, Facebook Messenger, just because some people only message me on Facebook Messenger, so like that could sometimes be important. And then also emails, but only my school emails. I turned it on at the beginning of quarantine when we were doing school online, just because my teachers were always like sending emails about like projects and updates and stuff like that. And now I keep them on because I'm so far looking for a co-op term for this fall, so like September, and I get emails from like the co-op office and also like possible jobs and stuff like that, and so I need to keep it on just like so I don't miss anything. But yeah, those are the only 4 things that I have notifications on for my lock screen, which I think has helped me a lot, because for example with Snapchat I would have notifications on and then I'd be like on my laptop trying to be productive, and then my phone's right beside me and I see all these like notifications coming on, and I end up like looking at my phone, checking it, sometimes picking it up and like responding and stuff. And so by not having those notifications on your lock screen, I just like totally don't even see them until I go onto my phone, and so it reduces the amount of times that I pick up my phone. And I think for me personally that has helped. And so that's one of my bigger tips, although I still keep badges on certain apps, like in Snapchat for example, just because I do have streaks that I don't want to lose. I do keep the notifications on just so I'll remember to go on it, because sometimes I forget and I could like go honestly 12 or more hours without replying to my Snapchat streaks. Like, I've been getting really bad at replying to streaks, which is a good thing, but also at the same time I do want to keep them and I do want to stay in touch with people. But like apps like Instagram, I don't have any notifications on, and so I only get notifications when I go into the app and like see notifications that way. And I think that has really helped me with going on my phone less. And yeah, so that was honestly like the only tip and trick I actually had, but I thought it was really helpful for me, so I thought I would mention it to you guys. But yeah, now let's go on to the second page of my apps. And also, I just wanted to mention, I only like having the first 4 rows of apps. If you can see, I feel like when you have apps all the way down, it like makes your phone really cluttery. I also kind of like color coordinated them just because I'm extra, and so at the top we have like more black backgrounds, but we do have one blue just because the way that it worked out. But first we have Netflix. I don't really use Netflix on my phone that much because I watch it on my laptop, but I have it just in case. And then we have Nike Run Club, which I used a lot when I was running my mile a day. And then the next app that I have is the Apple Watch app, and I just like to use this because I feel like it's easier to like maneuver and like fix settings and changes on my phone than on the watch itself, just because it's so small. And then we got Waze, which I use a lot for like traffic wise. Obviously I haven't really been using it recently because I haven't been going anywhere. I used this a lot last summer when I was working because I like to use it to determine when I was going to leave to go to work, because like sometimes I would check it and there would be a lot of traffic, so I'd have to leave earlier, versus other times it wouldn't be as bad. So yeah, that's why I like to use it. The next row we have like more green yellowy backgrounds. So we got the TD app, which is just like a banking app. Transit, this is for public transportation, so like buses and stuff. I use this a lot back at school because I took the bus from like my house at school to school, and this just told me like when the bus was coming and things like that. And then we got the Nike Training Club, which is really similar to the Nike Run Club. It's just like more exercises and not running, obviously. And then we got the Weather Network, which is personally my favorite weather networking app, just because I feel like it's pretty accurate. And also I like how it has the 36-hour predictions, and it also has like 14-day predictions. The next row are more ready pinky apps. And so first we got Money Manager. I've talked about this in my what I spend in a week video, and I really like this app just to keep track of my finances. So every single time I spend money, I put it on this app. Luckily I haven't been spending that much money because I haven't been doing anything, but I also like to see just like breakdowns of where I'm spending my money. So this May has been a bad example because I literally only spent money on a gift so far, but like going into April, again, I haven't really spent that much money because I was in quarantine too. But let's go to, okay, so March, it kind of shows different sections I've been spending money in. My self-development one was just so high because I got my Apple Watch. And yeah, let's go to February. So this is more accurate of like a normal typical month where I'm like eating out a lot. I bought a good amount of clothes and like stuff for like social life and stuff like that. And it just like, if I'm spending a lot in a specific section, I kind of like look at it as a sign to like kind of budget or spend less type things. So yeah, I think this app is pretty good. And then next we have Wattpad. I used to use this a lot, not so much anymore, but it's just this app where anybody can go on and you can read books or you can write your own books. Anyways, the next app we have is We Heart It. I love We Heart It. I would say it's a mix between Pinterest and Tumblr, but this is the app that I got all of my pictures for my home screen and lock screen going on it, just to like kind of get inspiration, and it just like has really like aesthetically pleasing photos. Self-promo, but you can follow me at Aaron_Yams. But yeah, so just like examples of pictures that I've hearted. I don't know, I just really like the aesthetic of some of these pictures. And then beside that we have the PC Optimum app. This app is really good if you're in Canada and you shop at any of these PC related stores. So it's like Zayre's, Loblaws, Great Canadian Superstore, Shoppers Drug Mart. There might be more, I just don't know. But I really like this because you get points for every single time you spend money. I don't remember the exact ratio. It might have been like every dollar you spend you get like 10 points or something like that. I honestly don't remember, or it could be 100 points, and 10,000 points is equal to $10. So even though like you don't get a lot of points when you go shopping, it does add up. And another thing I really like about this app, and like why it's better to have like the app than to have the card, is for me, with this app in my account, it kind of like tracks what I like buy and what I purchase, and so it gives me like offers that are just for me. For example, this one we have like Campbell's Chunky Soup, which is something I've bought before, and it says you get 200 points for every dollar you spend, so it's a little bit of a better deal. And when you scan your card, it just automatically goes through if you are buying Chunky Soup. And obviously Chunky Soup I don't buy all the time, but I do buy every once in a while. So one thing that I find is really cool is you can slide it over and you can actually save it for next week. So if you don't want it this week, but it's a deal you have and you know you're gonna buy it eventually, you can save it for next week, and you can actually keep on saving it for next week. And then anyways, the last row we have is like whiter background apps. And so first we have Pinterest. I use Pinterest a good amount of times. I use it mainly for ideas for like gifts, like DIY gifts, bullet journaling, and also like sorority stuff. The next app that I have is the health app. I don't use this one that much, but it's nice to kind of like get a track so you can see your steps, and you can see like the weekly, monthly, and yearly, which I think is kind of cool, and I like how it like has that data for you. And then we have Visco. I don't use Visco that often, if I'm being honest. I post like every once in a while. I used to use it a lot for like editing photos, but now I have found a new app that I edit photos on. And then we have Amazon, which is one of my favorites. As you can see, I was on it not too long ago searching face masks for dry skin because I have really dry skin. Now moving on to my last page of apps. So for these ones I put them in folders just because if I had them out I would have so many pages and it would be very inconvenient to get to them all. But the first folder I have is lifestyle, and I also kind of try to color coordinate it, as you can see. So first we have the NHL app. I don't use this app that much. Every once in a while I would like to go on it just to see the stats and everything, especially for the Leafs, to see like how they're doing and stuff, because I don't really watch any of their games except for like playoff games because that's more exciting. And then beside that we have Uber, and then we have Presto, which is like Toronto's transit card. So that's like the card that you load money onto and you just like tap it at like subway stations or bus stations instead of like getting a new ticket each time. And I use this app just to kind of see how much money I have on my Presto card. And then below that we have Zoom, which obviously I've been using a lot now in quarantine. And I then have the podcast app. I last year was listening to podcasts a lot, and then I kind of stopped, and now I'm into it again. So these are the podcasts I listen to, but my favorite podcast is Thick and Thin by Katie Bellotti. At that app we have the Amazon Prime Video app, and again I usually watch Prime Video on my laptop, but I have it on my phone just in case. And then at the bottom we have Google Maps. I don't really use Google Maps that much. If I do use the map, I'll probably use Waze, but for the most part when I do drive I like to know where I'm going, so I'll either like Google search it beforehand and kind of memorize it in my head, or I'll use Waze if I really don't know. But I tend to go or drive to places where I know how to get there. And then we have Shazam. I actually use Shazam a lot trying to find music that I hear on like TV shows or movies. And then I have Reddit, which I don't use that much. Every once in a while I might go on it just to read certain things, but like the only things I actually read on Reddit are like posts related to my university, because my university has like a page that like I don't know, some of the questions, at one point some of the questions that were being asked on there were questions that I wanted to know, and so I use that. And then I also sometimes read about like saving and financial stuff on Reddit too. The next slide in this folder, first we have LifeSum. So I don't really use LifeSum that often. I'm literally saying I don't really use a lot of these apps that often, as you can see. And then we have the Starbucks app. Again, don't really go to Starbucks that often, but I do have a few gift cards on it, so that's why I have the app. And then the next app we have is Flow. So this is a period tracker, and I personally really like it because oftentimes I forget when my time of the month is. Next row we have Lululemon. I like to go on this app every once in a while because sometimes they have like things on sale, and if you're really lucky you'll find something that you like on sale in your size, because Lululemon is freaking expensive. And then I have DoorDash, which, you know, sometimes in university you just don't want to cook. And then I also have YouTube Studio. I don't use this that much, but every once in a while it's like an easier way to like see comments and likes or reviews and stuff like that. I don't really get that many, so that's why I don't really use it that often, but we have that. And then we have Sephora. Literally have never used this app, or like barely use it. So I had like gotten in this app so I could create a beauty insider account, and as you can see I literally have 0 points because I haven't been to Sephora in so long. Next to Sephora we got this Pedometer app. So fun fact, I didn't know this, but in order to get like the amount of steps that you take on your Apple Watch, so like, I don't know if you can see this, oh my god, sometimes it just doesn't work. So the amount of steps that you get, in order to get that you need to download an app to put it on your like face watch or whatever. And so that's why I have that app, just so I could put it on the face of my Apple Watch, because I like to keep track of how many steps I do a day because I have goals for myself. And last but not least, we have the Tangerine app, which is just another banking app. So the next file we have is random, and in here we have the most random stuff. First we have Quizlet. Use this every once in a while for like definitions or like quizzing myself on terms. And then we have Swagbooks Live and Swagbooks. So if you guys don't know what this is, it's a website where you can go on and they have surveys for you to take, and with these surveys you can earn money. The reason why I do earn money is because it's like really little money, like maybe one survey might get you like 50 cents, although if you are bored and you have a lot of time, you can just do a bunch of these surveys and then like the 50 cents does add up. Below that we have Google Drive, Google Docs, and Files. And then the next row we have Top Hat. So Top Hat is kind of like, if you guys know what a clicker is, use it to answer like multiple choice questions in a lecture. So it's similar to that, it's just an app instead of an actual clicker. Beside that we have Bitmoji, which I used in order to create my Bitmoji for Snapchat. And then beside that we have the game Psych. This is actually the only game that I have on my phone, but it's super fun. You can play with like a group of friends, and the way that it works is like everyone who's playing, their name gets put into like a it's like an imaginary bowl of like questions, and so like they'll just randomly pick your name and give like a sentence, and then everyone playing has to send something in related to that sentence, and pretty much you vote for the best one, so it does get pretty funny. The next folder I have is Apple. So these are all of the apps that comes on an Apple phone that I just for some reason don't want to delete. So we got Stocks, Voice Memo, Compass, Contacts, Calculator. Those two are like probably the apps I actually use. Find My iPhone, Reminders I use every once in a while. And then we have News, Maps, TV, Wallet, Measure, Books, Tips, Home, Weather, Music, Clips, iMovie, Shortcuts, iTunes Store. The last folder that I have is called Pics, and this is just stuff related to like doing Instagram pictures or also YouTube thumbnails. So first we have followers, which actually is not even related to pictures, it's just related to Instagram, so that's why I put it in here. Pretty much what it tells you is like who unfollowed you, or if like someone's not following you back or something like that. I know it's really petty, but I do check it because usually if someone unfollows me, I unfollow them back, if I'm being honest. And then beside that we have Pic Collage, which I use to make all of my collages for like birthdays and stuff like that, so like friends' birthdays. And then preview, so what this is really extra, honestly. Lays out your photos similar to the Instagram layout. I like to use it just to get an idea of like how I want to post pictures and like in what order and type of thing. Honestly, like for example, if you look at this on my Instagram, the only pictures that I posted are the first 5 and everything else are just like ideas of what I want to post. And then below that I have another preview for my personal Instagram account. And then Instant Stack Share, so what this is the app in order to print photos from your phone to a Polaroid printer. And got Facetune. I don't use Facetune that often, but oh, as you can see, this was my thumbnail for one of my videos a while back, and if you guys look at like my old thumbnails, a lot of them had like kind of whitish backgrounds, and the way that I got it is I did in Facetune the retouch and then I whitened and then I literally just did that. But now I don't like it anymore, so I've stopped doing it, so I've stopped using the app. Below that we have photo editor. I don't use this editor that much. This was actually the first editor that I've ever gotten, so on like my old iPod Touch, and I've just always had it. And then the next app that we have is Color Tone. This is actually one of my new favorite editing apps. What it is it has like a bunch of presets, and I really like some of them. And so for example, if you go to this photo, my favorite personally is this one, so it's called Maldives. Usually I don't do it like the full way, I kind of just play with it. And then I also really like the Palm Beach one too. It depends on the photo. And then beside that we have Fonto. So this is how I get the text on my videos. I meant on my thumbnails. So in order to get like the curves or to get it with like the black white outline. And then the last slide thing here. First we have Duo Mobile, which is like a 2 authentication password thingy mabobber. And we have Unfold, which is the app that I use to make the collage for my home screen and lock screen. So for example, this one's my home screen. This one I actually tried to make with like my own photos. It just didn't look as nice, so I didn't keep it. And then Story Trick is just for like Instagram stories, or, like making videos of stories, if that makes sense, or like moves and stuff. And then below that we have PixArt, which this I use sometimes for like videos, so to get like different color backgrounds. So I use this in order to like get the background, and then I would save this and then upload it to Fonto to put the font on. And then this app, it's a glitch app, and so in my intro I got like that glitchy thing and I used this to get it. Anyways, so that is everything that is on my iPhone. We can finally turn it off and be done with this video. Okay, so that's pretty much it for what was on my iPhone. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.